short-term memory. Most of us have selective memories, right? Why is it we remember some things and forget others? And it isn't always the important stuff we remember and the unimportant stuff we forget. We know that. But what about that saying? We all know it. Forgive and forget. Forgive and forget. We've all heard it. Usually it's offered up as quick advice to someone having trouble getting beyond a painful situation. And usually the tone it's said with trivializes the person's hurt. Forgive and forget. Frankly, it usually means, I don't want to hear about this anymore. Stop talking about it. And if saying this to anyone does anything, it often produces anger and resentment and maybe a feeling of inadequacy, as the hurting person secretly wonders, is it even possible to forgive and forget? Now, most people think that forgiving is difficult, but forgetting is impossible. And there's some truth to that. There is. Because although forgiving is a mandate from God, I'm going to let that sink in. Forgiving is a mandate from God. Forgetting? Who says? Who says? Our memories are part of our survival mechanism. We're hardwired for that. It's the way we learn anything. Lessons about safety, physical and emotional safety. It's the way we learn our own mistakes in situations. It's the way we learn from our own mistakes. We learn those through memory, hopefully. Remembering our own mistakes and then changing our behavior in the future is the way to wisdom. I believe that the secret to forgiveness is not forgetting, but rather taking the hurts and the pain we feel, and as soon as possible, and in small and intentional movements, pushing them off center stage in our mind. Off center stage in our mind, and off center stage in our thoughts, and off center stage in our conversations. Can you see that picture in your mind? Moving things to the edges. And then in the empty space that you have, move other things in that fill up the space. Move things in that are more positive. Move in hopeful things. Move in loving things. Move in joyful things. Move in peaceful things in that empty space as soon as possible. And that's, I believe, how forgiveness happens. It's not that you forget anything, but it all becomes much more distant, and it's harder to get to. Hold that in your short-term memory for a minute. Now the Psalms, especially one like Psalm 137, can be such a comfort for those of us who are really human. Is there anybody like that here today? Oh, I guess I'm not alone. Flawed and sinful, that's me. Now, this song that we read was probably written by a Levite musician, a musician from the line of priests. And it wasn't written by David. Sorry, you thought they all were. But it was written during the Babylonian exile. In verse 3, we hear what sparks this person to write this song. Did you catch the insult when I read it? Those who were taken into Babylon were the upper class, the aristocracy, the lords and ladies, the princes, the most rich and powerful in Israel. Those were the ones that were taken into exile. The ordinary folks they left behind. So now they're being treated like common, ordinary folks that can be given orders. That's part of the insult right there. And someone in Babylon says to this person, "Sing me a song. Sing me a song of Zion." You quaint little person from this uncivilized place, unlike me, from a major civilization. Let's hear what your little music sounds like. Sing me a song of Zion. It sounds okay when you read it until you realize the smack it is. The rest of the song, if you read it, becomes even more bitter, expressing anger at the Edomites who live in the southeastern portion of the world right under Jerusalem. And they aided in the capture as people were fleeing from Jerusalem, trying to get away from the Babylonians. The Edomites scooped them up and handed them back over to the Babylonians. So they're angry at the Edomites, and even angry at God. But the psalm is also a prayer. The whole psalm is a prayer. So the psalmist, even in the heart of anger, uses memory, remembering that God is still God, and remembering the promises of God and the providence of God, uses memory to move to the center stage of his mind, the hope of returning to Jerusalem. So, in spite of all of the other stuff, moves that aside and puts in the center, I'm going to think about when I get to go back. That's what I'm going to put in the center. He or she, the psalmist, some of them could have been women, is continuing to be in communication with God, even in the moment of intense negative feeling. It's a beginning. It's a beginning. It's a place to start. The psalmist is not remembering, reliving, discussing over and over and over and over again the hurt, the capture, the Edomites. Not doing that, but has started pushing even the insult off stage and replacing it with memories of the homeland, memories of hope. This is Advent, a time of preparation and expectation. Well, what are we waiting for? What are we expecting? You might say the birth of God incarnate. And that's not a bad answer. Not a bad answer at all. But it's only the beginning. Advent is the time when we say, there's a new world coming. A new world. Hope is coming. Joy is coming. Love, peace, freedom coming. A new age, a new world, eternity is on the way. But remember, eternity doesn't start after we die. Eternity begins now. We are living in the playing out of eternity, which began at the moment that God broke the boundaries of the universe and came to earth to be born humbly as one of us. In spite of all that we had done as God's people, in spite of all our disobedience, all our violence, and our faithfulness, God, our most forgiving God, put God's human hands completely in our care when he came to earth in the form of a defenseless infant. What a plan is that? What kind of a plan is that for the creator of the universe? For a people that had betrayed God so many times, you think I'll come and put my defenseless self in their hands. And then, on the cross, as he died, Christ forgave us for his crucifixion. Forgiveness. It's a good thing. It's a godly thing. And all good things come down to us from the Father of lights. James 1:17. Keep it in mind. And forgiveness is a holy thing. Forgiveness requires obedience to God and trust in God. I'm not sure human beings are capable of forgiveness under their own power. You know, so many people believe they have a right not to forgive. They do. They think that if their situation is bad enough, and these folks usually think that their situation is bad enough, worse sometimes than anybody else who's ever lived. If it's bad enough, they have a right not to forgive, but they don't understand what it's about. It's not true. Please remember, Christian friends, unforgiveness is a seed of evil. Therefore, unforgiveness is not permitted for Christians. It's not just, please don't do it. It is not permitted. Forgiveness is an Advent process. It is a requirement of God. Bitterness, hatred, division, disunity, war, violence, all of that stems ultimately from a lack of forgiveness. And none of those things, not one of those things, can exist in eternity. They cannot. They do not belong in the new world. It all must be shed so that harmony and peace can prevail. But just as important as eternal peace, or even world peace, God is concerned about your peace. Your peace. Each one of you. Your peace. The peace of every individual human heart. And there can be no peace without forgiveness. When we forgive someone who has injured us, we are set free from the pain they caused us. Even if what they did caused us severe physical pain or emotional pain or both. When we choose to disconnect from the person who caused our pain, we are set free. It won't change the facts of what happened, but the emotional content changes completely. So this Advent, let's consider preparing our hearts for the new world coming. Not just with garland and with wreaths not just with poinsettias and with nativities, as beautiful as they are. But let's clear the stage of our hearts and our souls for freedom. For freedom and hope and love and joy and peace. And this Advent, let's forgive. Let's forgive. And now, let's make a start on it. Let's just take a moment and have a moment of reflection. On the screen, there will be a couple of questions that might help you. You might have your own way. You don't need them. These are prompts. And Christy's going to play one more time through O Come, O Come Emmanuel. And I'm just going to give you a moment to reflect on forgiveness. Glorious God, thank you for your constant readiness to forgive and for the steadfastness of your grace. Teach us to forgive others and ourselves and to move into the abundant life you desire